I'm all for more white on white racial tension.
Yeah.
I think it's great.
Let's get
into that.
I'm like, divide and conquer. So if you guys could keep infighting more. Yeah, every now and then I sort of pass.
It's like when you're playing StarCraft and the Protoss and the Terran are sort of fighting each other and you're just zerging it up. Like, okay, I'll just build out my base while you guys destroy each other's armies.
Yeah, I would know what that meant, but I'd have to erase half of my sexual history.
Yeah, what the hell?
Hey, StarCraft is a national sport. Just a nice normal song, doesn't remind me of anything.
Yeah, there's nothing ominous. It's very welcoming, and like I'm not going to be murdered.
Okay.
By someone who's cooler than me. Not only am I getting murdered, they're better dressed than me, and that's why this music's playing.
The American Psycho situation.
Yeah.
Welcome to Oops All Segments. The very best podcast hitting your eardrums at this very moment. I'm Kevin.
I'm Thomas. We were trying to record this episode for the second time with filmmaker, comedian, improviser from $10 Comedy at Second City, and in my opinion, the last great American man, Ed Flynn. Welcome, Ed.
You know, it'd be crazy to hear if it wasn't true.
Ed, before I just want to contextualize for our listeners what was happening when the show started.
Yeah.
So during our last recording attempt about 5 minutes ago, when the song started, you said that the song it reminded you of something. You said it reminded you of music that you'd hear.
Yeah, it sounds like we're at a bar. I always think cinematically sometimes lately because
sure. As a filmmaker in you.
And I wonder if it's that, or maybe we were just all locked inside for 3 years, and that was the only
it's the only medium through which you
outlet any of us had. Yeah. No, it just sounds like someone sneaking through a bar and they're going to drug someone's drink and mix it up and bring it back to them. And then someone's going to drink and then...
And that was kind of the lookbook for the podcast when we first pitched it. We said, we have this CCTV footage of a crime. Yeah. Can we make a show that sounds like this?
I sent to a lot of people don't know this, but Motown Records actually does our theme song, and I sent them footage of someone. I don't want to say who it was, but somebody committing
sounds like it was you.
A heinous act at a nightclub. And absolutely, if I'm being honest, it was a montage of heinous acts being committed over the years. And I asked them to sort of provide me with a score that I could use to maybe introduce sort of the theme.
A score like out of 100.
Yeah.
Like, how did I do?
Yeah, and they said, we don't do that kind of thing here. This is Motown Records.
Sure.
We don't.
Well, I do believe when it comes to comedy, like cultivating a little air of danger.
Yeah. Threatening danger that you're
just a little sprinkle of something.
Real talk, I was at a Canada Day party and somebody put Molly in the bottle service that we were drinking and it fucked my whole night up. So don't drug your friends.
Don't do that.
Don't drug your friends.
Don't do that to people. No.
Yeah. Kevin's serotonin levels are so low as it is. He can't take that dip. It's just not going to work.
The crash is going to leave me wrecked. I'll never remember. What the fuck is going on?
Speaking of a crash, this is a test of the National Wireless Emergency Alert
Oh my
System.
God.
The purpose is to maintain... Are you getting this too, Ed?
I'm not.
It's only an emergency for you.
It's just a test.
Oh, no.
But in a few minutes, you'll hear it from Ed's phone, I'm sure.
So what?
No,
you got jealous of the soundboard and you caused an emergency?
It's weird that they scheduled that test for 18 minutes after the hour.
Yeah.
Just a weird time for that.
That's mine coming through. That's my test. It turns out that there's been a kidnapping. That's the sound we get.
We like to start with a check-in, Ed.
Yeah.
How are you doing, buddy? How's it going?
You know, I'm hanging in. I'm doing great. I've been doing a lot of cooking.
Oh,
nice.
I've been pickling a number of things.
Okay.
Working really hard to find like a Zen risotto kind of process. It's just a period of experimenting with, do you put all the liquid in there first? Do you do the ladle at a time? Here's something new. I've been actually, with rice, you're meant to, regular rice, you're supposed to rinse the extra starch off.
That's what they say,
That's what they say. I mean, very few of us know.
Yeah.
But with a risotto, you can do that.
Heavy. Sorry,
exactly. No. Nobody. Isn't this Oops All Recipes?
Yeah, the segment you brought is a 30-minute cooking show.
In a way, I think of our podcast as that preamble before the recipe when you click the link and there's just like 18 pages of personal history and then they tell you how long to put broccoli in the oven for.
With great urgency of getting to the end. It's people start.
Yeah,
they're curious about what we have to offer.
2 times speed.
Yeah, but they don't want to hear much about it.
Trying to get to that ad in the middle.
Do you have
for
like
a
recipe that you're like, this has been my new, like, I gotta rock this as like my new go-to?
Well, this is my problem though, is that I'm like a read 20 recipes and mix them all up kind of guy.
Oh,
which
wow.
isn't it's not really a good idea, but I'm a big believer in just like make something badly 10 times and the 11th time it'll be fine. Which is not great for comedy.
I will say,
you can't fail that long in comedy.
Make something bad 10 times. And eventually it'll be good.
I think this might be episode 51 if we release it when I think we're releasing it, Kevin. So what if you fail 50 times and then this is our most recent attempt? I will say Ed is a very good cook.
Okay.
I've eaten his cooking several times and it's always great.
Okay.
And because we're talking about food, I want to reveal one of my things that was going to be in part of my check-in.
Yeah.
I got some frozen pierogies, which I would say pretty consistent, solid food to get frozen. You boil them, you fry them up. 100%. They're always great.
Yeah.
I got these potato cheddar jalapeno ones, which I like. Very good.
Okay.
Sure.
I had my first portion last night. Had it for lunch today, and while I was eating them, I bit down, and one of them had a pebble cooked inside of it. It like crunched onto my tooth, and I've got the pebble here.
It's actually like a pebble? Holy shit.
It is so, I mean, maybe it's something else that is like
congealed
just
in the cooking
been
process
petrified, but it's as hard as a pebble, and it sort of looks like a small stone to me.
Did you
there's texture.
Did you like chip a tooth or anything? Did you catch it in like did it get you?
I don't think I did bite hard on it, but I feel like my teeth are strong enough that they withstood the damage. But it was pretty alarming.
Yeah. I bet. You know, you're just lucky there weren't any
serious consequences.
And there weren't, so that's fine.
Yeah.
So you're not going to send an email to complain, I guess?
I might. I don't know. I mean,
nobody's reading the pierogi emails, right? Right. There's at most like the email gets immediately printed into a paper shredder that then goes into an incinerator.
You're
while
actually
a Polish
doing
man
the world a disservice
laughs and
by
smokes.
emailing them because
the shredded email gets mixed in with the filling of the pierogi,
they
and that's
compress
why
it down into a small pebble and they insert it in a pierogi sent to ship to Chicago.
It's also something I hope Kim doesn't find out about, because the biggest fight we have in our relationship is that she doesn't like pierogies, which is insane to me. Everyone likes pierogies.
Yeah.
She loves mashed potatoes. It's basically mashed potato dumpling.
Yeah.
It is such an odd position to hold.
Even bringing it up, I probably brought it up on the podcast a few times because it makes me so angry. She finds out that there's hazardous items in there. It's just going to prove
Has she
her
ever
right.
had a sweet pierogi? Like a blueberry one?
Like a blintz?
No, that exists. Like the dessert pierogies is totally a thing, man. Like it is like a blintz, I guess, but it's like they do it with like blueberry filling. It's
I don't think she has had that, but she would probably like it better. The thing that she struggles with is the texture. She doesn't like the sort of soft chewiness. I think if it was crispier on the outside, it would be easier for her.
I know I know Kim is from Jefferson Park here in Chicago, which is a very Polish neighborhood.
Yeah.
So I was assuming maybe it's some like weird Chicago white on white racism.
Kim does hate Polish people.
She has
Jeff Park
explicit prejudice towards other whites.
Yes. Luke Cecilon,
Chicago,
close friend, other guest of the show, Polish man. We do comedy together with Kim, and there's always interesting racial tension because Kim kind of can't resolve sort of whatever it is that she seems to.
I think she loves Luke's personality. She just can't look him in the eyes.
Sure. And that's a height thing mostly.
I'm all for more white on white racial tension.
Yeah.
I think it's great. I think let's get into that.
I'm like, divide and conquer. So if you guys could keep infighting more. Yeah, every now and
like
then I
when you're
sort of
playing
pass.
StarCraft and the Protoss and the Terran are sort of fighting each other and you're just zerging it up. Like, okay, I'll just build out my base while you guys destroy each other's armies.
Yeah, I would know what that meant, but I'd have to erase half of my sexual history.
Yeah, what the hell?
Hey, StarCraft is a national sport. It's not nerdy to know about StarCraft. How dare you?
You're right.
I'm going to finish my check-in now that y'all know I don't fuck. That timed out really well. Kevin, we have merch for our podcast.
What?
Let me stand up dramatically.
What are you talking about?
Take a look at that screen.
What the fuck? Holy shit. Oops. It's a shirt. It's like it looks like is it a girl hovering in the air? Or a young man, and it says Salem, Massachusetts shirt. It says oops in big letters underneath it.
Yes.
It's like a wood block.
Some kind of witchcraft is happening in Salem, and I don't totally get it. But I asked Kim to buy it on a recent trip.
Amazing.
And I think that we can resell these shirts. We have 2 of them. So if anyone wants the shirt I'm wearing, email us.
It's incredible. It's beautiful. But if you want the shirt that Thomas is wearing on Oops All Set, this is our first piece of unofficial merch because I think it was probably made by another company. Hopefully,
I hope it was made by another company because we bought it at a store.
Yeah, send us an email.
There you go.
Tell us why you deserve Thomas's shirt. That's incredible. That's a beautiful check-in.
Kevin, how are you?
How am I? I'm good. I just got back recently from Minneapolis, Minnesota. It's been interesting. Like we just had an election here, Manitoba, Winnipeg. We just
congrats
voted out the
NDP.
Conservative Party. The NDP's won. Yeah.
Ed, do you know anything about Canadian politics? Like, do you know what the NDP is?
I know a little bit. I read The Guardian.
Okay.
And they have a pretty heavy Canadian content.
The NDP is supposed to be the most left-leaning party. That's like a major party. Sometimes that's true. It's not always true, but it's for the most part.
They're certainly not amazing, but they're a little better than the like center-right Democrat liberal parties in
limousine liberals.
Yeah, exactly. Of which we have many. So we just had an election here. That was a really big deal. A big orange wave took out a lot of blue. So just moved a lot of conservatives, which is a pretty big deal for Manitoba. It doesn't happen very often. So that's interesting. And I think we're in for a lot of change that I think will probably be beneficial, as a lot of people were not happy with what's happening here. But when I got back, the real kind of important thing that's been on my mind is something finally happened to me that I've been waiting for like an incredibly long amount of time. And I went to Minneapolis with Kara, my partner, and her friend Kelly, and the two of us, the three of us rather, we actually stayed a night in Fargo before we went to Minneapolis. So we spent a night in a La Quinta Inn by Wyndham Estates in Fargo.
Wow, the entire title. Huh?
Yes, I would hate for them to not get their due. So when we were checking in, when we booked it, it was all kind of like a little last minute, so we didn't have some of the details. And we checked in, and then we were walking back downstairs through the lobby on our way out for the evening, and we saw a sign that mentioned that there was a continental breakfast available, which I thought was very exciting because, we're on a road trip. It's nice to be able to get some snack before you go. Sure. And it was a good continental breakfast, by the way. They had like a waffle maker there. They had like, the whole 9 yards. Yeah. It was great. Nice little fruit spread. Yeah. But the reason why I'm so excited is that I got to say something I don't often get to say. Because when we were walking by there and we saw the sign for the continental breakfast, we had been making passing references previously to the fact that the three of us are sharing a hotel room, and it's going to be a little interesting to coordinate the politics of shitting in the room. So I sort of made a passing joke that if I didn't want anybody to find my bowel movements embarrassing, I would come downstairs and use the bathroom in the morning outside of the buffet hall. And I said that would be
a great hack in general, that you can use those downstairs hotel bathrooms 100%. You don't need to stay there. It's always clean.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. And if you do it in the morning, you can tell your friends that that's going to be your own in-continental breakfast.
Nice. Nice. And you remembered the joke for 6 days to say it on the podcast.
Thomas, that joke has been in my pocket for like 15 years, my dude. It isn't like 6. I can remember it for a fucking week. I've had to remember it for fucking years, man. And I cracked it out and they didn't even laugh.
Okay. So
they got disgusted. Kelly got mad that I talked about shit. Kara almost broke up with me for my reaction.
You wrote it at age 18, and you've been nesting on it
ever since I figured out what incontinence was. I've been waiting like a ticking time bomb.
That's funny. And we
in
both
continental
laughed,
breakfast. In a continental breakfast, you wouldn't make it to the toilet, though, right? That'd be the problem. It happened on the way. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
So hard here.
I'm sorry.
It's just he's sensitive.
Joke writing's tough.
Yeah. You have to be precise, though, with your language, because even like a small thing like that, it sounds like just a semantic issue that Ed brings up. But like, it took me out of it a bit as well. I didn't want to say anything, but like, it was harder to just do that big belly laugh because I could see the flaw with the logic.
Wow. I guess let's fucking... How the fuck... are we checking in? What are we doing next? What's the next part of the fucking show?
Let's spin the wheel and do our first warm-up segment. Actually, before that... Ed,
good. I'll stop the fucking wheel then, I guess.
Yeah, hang on.
Fuck me!
So we used to ask whether I was a cat or a dog. We've evolved this segment. So now it's... Is Kevin a steaming pile of shit, or is he a pathetic little piece of shit?
A steaming pile of shit or a pathetic little piece of shit? Well, a steaming pile of shit is healthy. You know what I mean? It's everything's going as it should.
Right. Yeah.
A pathetic little pile of shit, I would say, get some more probiotics in your diet.
Yeah. And which one do you think of when you see this guy?
Please, Ed. I know that we don't know each other, okay? But I need this, man. I can't.
You're a steaming pile of shit. It's okay. He's a steaming pile of shit. He's the good one.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
Because what you just did seemed a little pathetic to me. It seemed a little pathetic and small, begging you to pick one over the other.
You're not wrong. However,
and I know you're a totally unbiased juror here, but I just want to mention that.
I think steaming pile of shit. Okay. Because a steaming pile of shit, it's been in there too long. You know? And
don't make it bad now. Don't make it bad.
That joke's been sitting in your colon for years, along with a lump of delicious cheddar cheese, and only now has it found its way into the world.
You can say what you want about me, but you leave Incontinental Breakfast the fuck alone. Okay, that joke is golden.
You're right. I think it's dynamite. I think it's the name of a special or a trilogy of specials.
I'm trying to do the Incontinental Breakfast cinematic universe. The IBCU.
The IC.
People want the story to keep going. You know, they want to feel like it never ends because we never end.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. You know,
that's so true.
That new John Wick series, The Continental, I'm coming for it.
If we create the multiverse, then there will exist one universe where that joke worked. So we just have to find it.
Exactly. Cut to me searching through timelines and killing alternate versions of myself.
Okay. Unfortunately, the one universe where that joke lands, Hitler won World War II. So
it's a real. You gotta weigh the two.
Sophie's choice there.
Yeah, quite literally.
Fascists love poop jokes. Fascists love poop jokes.
They do.
I want to say too, and I know we're spinning the fucking wheel, but I do want to say we met with Peter Corey, who's now on the soundboard. Let's hear him real quick. See if Ed recognizes it.
Just give me one.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. No, that's he said, "Oh, you said that joke that I chose not to say." That's what that is.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
And never was it more called for than when Kevin said his incontinental breakfast joke. But I will say that he described the podcast as what it feels like to be a 13-year-old boy. And we've talked about shit and related topics for about 23 minutes.
Yeah.
Now we're going to get into the real show and prove Peter wrong.
Yes.
that this is a mature and a well-run podcast.
Take that, Peter. All mature from here on out. I'm not going to get angry. I'm going to be level-headed. Everything's going to be fine.
A submission from Mother Dearest.
Oh, snap.
Melissa Steele.
Oh, hi.
Why I Live Alone. We are seeking bad or interesting roommate stories.
I know that Thomas has these.
I got a few of these.
I know
in the
that
bag. I may even have shared them on the pod before.
Yeah.
But I am curious, Ed, because you've lived all over. I imagine you've had some.
Yeah, you talked before we got on air about various different living places. Any stick out with like a roommate story?
Well, because I've had so many roommates, I've had to evolve beyond the "you son of a bitch" and just kind of be like, "Oh, there's a roof over my head. It's heated. Oh, there's
practicing gratitude.
Worn down.
Water comes out
grateful.
of the tap."
They finally got me. I fucking like it here.
There was a guy who was a roommate of mine. His name was Donovan, and this was kind of the early 20s time, and he was.
I thought you meant the 1920s. I was like, whoa!
Yeah, it was the early
last
20s,
true American man is from 1910.
Yeah, Prohibition hadn't kicked in yet, but suffrage was. It was like right around the corner,
Right.
And there were a lot of flappers, and you could say 23 skidoo, and somebody knew that you were telling them go F yourself.
That's the second time that 23 Skidoo has come up on the podcast, by the way, which is fucking crazy.
Weird. Comedy people are just broken. We just absorb the same useless. But I've had multiple roommates move out and still owe me money.
Oh yeah.
And what they do to make it okay is leave furniture that I'm supposed to care about.
Take
like
that.
Green velour chairs, green velour armchairs. One guy left a crucifix.
Wait, how big? Like a
was 2.5 feet
too big
from kind of toes to
oh my
forehead.
God.
That's
and you had to
big.
take care of it?
Yeah.
Forgive me for asking.
It looks like that's for crucifying a child.
Yeah.
The text was, you can have anything I've left behind.
Oh, how sweet of you.
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
And so I have to
literally
carry
sell this holy symbol out to the dumpster.
Yeah, I have to sell Christ to get back to zero
on Facebook Marketplace.
And like, I don't want to speak for Jesus, but I think he would have hated that, to be honest with you. I don't know. I don't know his vibe entirely, but I feel like it wasn't.
I don't think Jesus was down with Facebook Marketplace.
He threw the phones upside down.
Yeah. He didn't like people who made themselves into brand.
Yeah. I don't think that was his thing. No. Wow, that sounds unpleasant. I have been fortunate enough to have very few roommate experiences in general. I've either lived alone or with family, and now I live with my partner.
Kevin's rich.
I'm not rich. Not rich. Don't tell people I'm rich because they'll like.
He's rich.
I'm not
folks.
rich. Don't tell.
No, it's clear you do a lot of theater though, and you have to come from means. And what I would say that as a member of a theater company myself.
Yeah. No, I mean I'm not broke.
Like,
yeah. I mean I was spoiled as a kid. I'm a fucking multi-billionaire. I'm Jeff Bezos is my grandmama, but none of that's true. But no, I've had one roommate experience, and that was like kind of specifically roommate, someone that didn't live with me, and the way that kind of worked out that was sort of interesting is the person was a close friend of mine, musician, who the original deal was that they were going to like spend 3 months living with me, and then like 3 months on the road, and then come back, and they'd live with me for 2 months, and then go back on tour again. They were a relatively successful musician, so they were touring, and it was like a pretty normal situation, and it worked out really well. But then the pandemic happened, and I was their home base, their home address, and everything. And obviously the tours all shut down, so they moved in. And close friend of mine, it worked out pretty well for a long time, but when that isn't the plan, that isn't the vibe, and we kept being like, I mean, that's a part of the pandemic people think about often is like we thought this was going to end in 3 months, we thought this was going to end in 6 months, whatever it is, and it just kept going. And at first it was great, but then having like a friend who's like really good at making mixed drinks became like a problem during the pandemic. It was at first it was a good thing, but then we like drank too much, and then we like partied too much, and so anyway, things eventually came to an end. But it wasn't like a terrible roommate story. And I'm still close friends with Dave, so I wouldn't like be like, here's a way in which he fucked my life up. But but you know, sometimes I would be like jacking off in the kitchen, and it would be tough for me to finish. Right, because he's trying to like make breakfast cereal or something, and I'm trying to come, and I think that those two things are sort of
Well, and you need to come quickly because Velveeta melts so fast.
Exactly.
You're not just gonna be sitting there waiting.
Yeah,
if
I'm gonna like, that's the American in the American cheese is
absolutely right. Yeah,
they're mostly sperm.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's all chemicals anyways. Yeah. Who cares if it comes from your friendly pharmaceutical
or your friend?
Are you jacking off to the breakfast? Like, what's getting you?
Oh, I find him prepping his breakfast actually problematic and getting in the way. I'm trying to do my own thing, come and eat a grilled cheese. He's trying to pour
Are
Cheerios.
You watching something? Is it all imagination, or like is there some kind of stimuli for you?
I don't know if you've ever made a grilled cheese before, but I find it very erotic.
Yeah, there's a textural contrast.
Yes,
just listen to that phrase.
You guys know the movie Blue Velvet. I'm Blue Velveeta. Sure. I'm Blue Velveeta.
Sure. Yeah, they call him Blue Balls Velveeta.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Yeah. As for my roommate
which
story,
one are you going to give
knows,
us?
I lived with not one, but two crazy Israeli roommates, first in LA, then in Chicago. But the LA one is maybe funnier to talk about. He was in a cult known as Landmark. He hurt himself in a screaming exercise that he did at the cult. He met someone in the cult who he decided to get engaged with. She moved in with us. He didn't ask me. She lived with us for a while. I would hear them loudly fight and then loudly fuck. And because he was Israeli and English was a second language, when he orgasmed, he would say, "I am coming," kind of like Colossus from the X-Men. He also once called me with tears in his eyes because I had used the wrong cloth in the kitchen to wipe up a water spill. This man is now divorced. I found a PDF of his divorce proceedings on Google from the woman who he married while I was living with him. And he blocked me on social media, not the other way around.
You deserved it. You deserved it.
You hit me. What was that rag for? What was that rag for?
I hate to guess, but if I had to say Blue Velveeta, I think you might get an idea.
Oh man.
You hit
me.
He said it was a gift, though. He mentioned that it was a gift from someone important to him. I don't know why it was hanging over like
a dish
side
rag
of the sink, but it was like an important rag, and I wiped up water with it. And he called me later to.
Couldn't talk to you about it at home. He had to give you a call. Yeah.
Yeah.
I also, just as a side note, remember you telling a story about a roommate throwing out all of your shit, which yeah, that's another like bad roommate story that
I have had very bad luck with roommates. Yeah, Kim is the worst of all so far. But,
I got a friend of a friend roommate story that's very brief.
Yeah.
That was our mutual friend Joey. We would play the old video games together, you know? And this roommate of his, she would come into the room when we were playing video games and turn the light out, and then leave.
Why?
And we were like, she was like, "Oh, were you using the light?" We're like, "We're in. It's dark." No, we were gonna be two 24-year-old men playing video games together in the dark.
Yeah. Well, that's
because we have that kind of security at this age.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's insane.
We need to have our wits about us. We need a little.
Were
bit
they
of
trying to like
light
save the
situation.
energy bill? Was this like a weird?
Yeah, it was like electricity. It was clearly like electricity parent trauma or something. There was some kind of like
their dad had been like, "You leave the fucking lights on when you're playing your PS2." Yeah. Yeah.
You think there's just a big ball of light in the sky?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. It's not where it comes from. It isn't really, I guess, because we
Nah, it's true.
It could be in a better world.
Solar technology's come a long way.
It has. And we're all happy about it.
Their dad might have been Louis the Lightning Bug. Do you guys remember that guy?
Was he a Canadian? I think that might have been a Canadian thing only, Thomas.
He was the play it safe around electricity guy who would sort of dance and say, like, don't hang around when power lines are down.
Yeah. It was like a Canadian advertising thing to like teach kids not to get hurt using electricity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
In America, they encourage it.
Yeah, exactly. They want
if we don't keep all the lights on, the terrorists win, unfortunately.
There's too many of us already. Go play with those power lines.
Get out of here. Trim it back. Thomas, do you think...
Speaking of power, why don't we take a little break and show a podcast that really has something
has
to
some
offer.
Juice, has some chutzpah, as it were, versus this conundrum.
What's up, everybody? My name is Chance Nichols, and I am the host of We Didn't Peak. It's a podcast where I interview people who don't suck. I mean, they're people who are chasing their dreams, and we talk about their lives, where they've been, where they're going. And look, you don't have to be chasing your dreams to not suck. I know plenty of cool people who hate their lives, all right? Boy, this is less an advertisement, more an insult. Okay, well, listen to us wherever you get your podcasts, and follow us on Instagram at We Didn't Peak.
Well, we're here, back in the segment zone. And, Ed, do you have a segment for us?
I do. Humbly.
What's it called?
It's called Thought Leader.
Ooh.
Oh.
Yeah. So I've had to join LinkedIn recently because I'm in the second half of my 30s and I need a job.
Yeah. It's one of the saddest days of your life when you finally
join LinkedIn. LinkedIn's like Instagram, where no one has ever had an organic orgasm.
Do you think anybody has ever read a blog post in fully on LinkedIn that hasn't written one?
No.
I will say, like Instagram, actually the only horny DM I've ever received was on LinkedIn.
Really?
Was it?
And that's like a weird
that
horny
is so
reach
you
out.
In a weird way. Like it's such what?
He was like an older man, and he sort of sent me this thing of like, I'm admiring your profile. I just wanted to say, and it was like, it came off at first like a job thing, but then it was like, no, this is sexual. I'll see if I can pull it up while we do the segment.
But what's your segment, Ed?
So the idea is, I thought we could give each other both a name and a background.
Oh yeah.
To suggest a kind of thought leader, and then we become those thought leaders and try to fix the world with just some simple, bold thoughts.
Sure. We're thinking, when we talk about thought leaders, the first thing that I think of is sort of these, like, honestly, problematic individuals like Jordan Peterson and fucking Elon Musk, who just like say things that are supposed to be profound. We put the meme text over it, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. On LinkedIn, there's this even extra thing of like, you're teaching a class that no one's attending.
Oh,
there's like you know what I mean? There's
thank you for coming to my TED Talk that no one cares about.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a TED Talk, but Ted didn't want to get involved.
Right.
But there's a camera on everything. There's a camera on my refrigerator, and so and I own a turtleneck, and so here are some thoughts.
Yeah.
I might need you to remind me what the segment is, because I was looking up this link, but I did find it from a man named Stuart.
Okay. And what did Stuart say?
What's he say?
Hi, Thomas, smiley face. Seldom would I call someone charming based on a boring venue like LinkedIn, but then I saw dat ass.
That thing hanging out the bottom of the shorts.
He did a little winky face at the end.
Whoa. Yeah.
Stuart.
He is Politico's NATO and Europe China correspondent.
What? Stuart!
Well, hey, I hope the war in Ukraine is going well, dude.
If my job was working at Politico, I'd need some pretty regular random sex as well, just to keep balanced.
Thomas,
it's
what
not
is your LinkedIn like? What's your log line?
How charming must it be
that the political correspondent for NATO?
Yeah, how many times did you write the word thirsty into your LinkedIn profile?
Yeah, did you write Thomas Clapper of Cheeks? Is that your...
It's very bland now. It used to have some jokes in it. I think it used to say that like it said like it listed like potentially good boyfriend or something in my like my resume stuff. So it had some gags, but I think at this point it was pretty bland. I do have a picture of Nicolas Cage from The Weatherman as my cover photo.
Very professional way to get a job, too.
Great movie.
Yeah.
Well, I needed a little bit of personality in there.
Yeah.
Can this segment be called Ed Slightly Tweaks His Segment?
Yes,
I just had an idea that might get...
Yet, so,
right,
okay.
yes. So I'd like to basically, for us to give a thought leadership kind of a speech. But one thing about these thought leaders is that often their thoughts come to them while they're out in the world. Like they're at McDonald's or something, and they're like, this thing made me muse about something. Right. And so I think what I'd like to do is pick that fast food item that has caused all of us to kind of have a deeper thought that the rest of the world really needs to hear.
What does this kind of mean about society?
Yeah.
I get you. Okay, I'm in.
I have many thoughts on fast food items, and they inspire me greatly.
Yeah.
So I love this.
Yeah, I love a good fast food discussion, you know? Yeah.
Should we do it individually? Should we do it collectively?
That was the idea, was individually, was like give each other a menu item and then let each of us kind of do the thing.
Okay.
Well, Ed, for you, I'm going to give you the one that I've thought about the most. The naked egg chalupa from Taco Bell. Now, if you don't remember this, it was a short-lived breakfast item where the shell was a fried egg. So instead of a taco shell, you held this egg in your hand that was filled with like breakfast bacon and meat and cheese and stuff.
Awful idea.
The naked egg chalupa.
Was it like an omelet egg, like style egg? Like it was like fried?
Yeah, kind of like that. Like a hard, like bendable disc egg. That, yeah.
Awful. Awful.
Okay. Yeah, I can do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. I guess that would mean that I'm assigning one to you, T, and then Ed's going to give me one. Is that the idea?
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah. I think, Thomas, for you, I think I'd like to look into the McDonald's McGriddle, specifically the McGriddle that is just egg and cheese and no bacon, no sausage. So just a McDonald's egg McGriddle.
Egg and cheese McGriddle.
Right. Familiar with the McGriddle as the syrupy bun, sort of the French toast style bun.
I know.
Okay.
I know.
Sort of just getting our audience caught up to speed.
Good to fill.
Ed.
Yes. I think the menu item I'd like to give, very simple, the McDonald's hot apple pie.
The hot apple pie. Okay. All right. All right. Okay.
So maybe to demonstrate what you have in mind, Ed, you can go first, and then we'll do shitty attempts to be that good after.
And just for
very
the record,
happy to hoist myself up my own petard.
I may very well edit these into motivational YouTube shorts.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Please do. You can just show the highlights.
Yeah.
Okay. Here we go. Hey, thought leaders. Just some thoughts wanted to lead you with. I'm having the naked egg chalupa here at the Toxies Belsies. And it got me thinking, what is the carbohydrate in your life? You know? What's the carbohydrate that you need to provide the buffer between you and what you're really at? And also, why do you need that carbohydrate? What if you just grabbed life by the sweaty coagulated protein and just shoved it right into the place where feelings go away? Anyways, I am running for the senator of Missouri. And I don't know.
Very good.
Beautiful.
Very good.
Beautiful.
Give it up for Ed.
Yes.
Thank
If
you.
you're listening, applaud in your car, at your sink, wherever you may be. Nice.
The kids love it.
Everybody.
Kids love it.
Thanks, although you weird children in my ceiling.
Yeah. Oops All Segments is always recorded in front of a live studio audience of about 5 to 6-year-old children. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a problem. All of us who've been watching have been wanting to ask you guys about that and like kind of dig in deeper about why, but
We don't like to talk about it, and because they're children, we can't really disclose any other information, but they do enjoy listening to the
Right.
show based on
yeah, and if they know what's good for them, they'll enjoy it.
Yes, based on the fact that their parents keep sending them here. I assume it's fine, but I don't know.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, child care is so expensive.
Yep. That's how we make all of our money. Thomas, are you ready, or would you like me to?
I am ready.
Okay. All right.
Mm,
Hello, thought leaders.
mm.
Thank you for meeting me at this late hour. I've had an idea that I think is going to rock your worlds. In my hand is a McGriddle. Not a fancy McGriddle. The regular, plain one. I've had this since 10 a.m. this morning. And as I stared at it all day, I knew that the secret to business success was inside of it. You start in the middle. Protein, dairy. That's pretty substantial. That's decent. You go a little higher. Something different here. That's not ordinary bread, is it? It's filled with the kind of sweetness that this country has long forgotten about. We need to return to the era of kindness. Run compassionate, competitive businesses in order to befriend our enemies and destroy them with love. I'm not finished. You might think that this was enough for a legacy sandwich, but no. How many of you wear your hearts on your sleeves? This is the only sandwich I can think of where the logo of the restaurant is printed on the bun. So every time you eat it, you know where it came from. This is the importance of an About Us section on your website. People must know the kind of circuitous origin story that led you to sell your version of instant iced coffee. Thank you for coming here today. I am running for Senate in Louisiana.
Beautiful.
You know what's weird with McGriddles? They have those weird like they've been injected.
Yeah, the syrup, the syrup,
like
the syrup
the
pock
heroin
marks.
holes.
Yeah.
Shooting up with.
They don't
Maple
actually.
syrup.
There's actually no syrup in the bun. If you see that, it's because you have a drug problem.
I do have a drug
You gotta
problem.
like scratch them out.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. And I'm doing the McDonald's apple pie, right? The classic McDonald's apple
yes,
pie.
yeah.
Okay.
Mm.
Don't act shocked.
Hey, thought leaders. Thanks for tuning in. I just thought I'd drop a quick video to let you know about something been sort of tickling the old noodle lately. I was enjoying a snack at an institution many of you have probably heard of, the old Golden Arches, Mickey D's, Ronald's House of Fun. And while I was there, thought I'd get myself a little sweet treat to cap it all off, and I did. And it got me thinking, as we like to do. Something as American as the traditional apple pie, sitting on a windowsill, a cartoon amount of smell wafting over, catching the nose of a pesky rabbit, something like that. Reducing that experience into a pocket-sized morsel is an achievement, but not one made without certain considerations. Consider the McDonald's apple pie box. A small pocket filled with sugary goodness, wrapped inside a rectangular prism, but it's not enclosed, remaining open, accessible to change, letting people in on what's on the inside. And it doesn't just do that by having accessible flaps that you open up. There are access points. And that's what I want to talk to you about today. Where are your access points? Where are the holes in your soul that those two little fingers can get through to help pinch that apple pie goodness up towards your mouth? And so I want you to think about that when you're sitting at home, even when you're sitting and judging your children based on what they've been doing. I want you to make sure that those children understand that they need to be poked by finger holes and pushed forward in their life. So prod your kids hard with steel boots if you have to.
Yeah.
And work harder. Much like the McDonald's apple pie. American tradition needs to be pushed out of a box, and the way we do that is through the holes. Poke your holes. Thought leaders.
God.
And as to your recent political candidacy.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. I will be running for the school trustee board in a few weeks. There's an election, and I just believe that I need to have a voice because I am a voice of the people, and I don't want these sort of agendas coming down on us.
That's the dangerous one, though. Senators, no one takes a senator seriously.
Yeah.
You've got the real power.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. I hold the children in the palm of our hand, you know.
When you got to the end of that, I'd have voted for you. I was ready.
The part you were found
don't have a
compelling
lot
was
of-
me talking about prodding children hard. That was
Absolutely, yeah. But there was sugar in it. It was about having a sweet snack.
yeah.
And that's election gold.
I did think that
here.
the most interesting
I love
part
your
was
book,
the box.
Rich Dad, Pie Dad. That's a good one.
My pie dad was great. Yeah. Oh man. Well, I think we figured out how to lead these thoughts. That was a great segment.
Yeah.
I was like
Great segment.
very
Yeah.
well suited towards our people like to talk about fast food on the show. I feel like we have a fast
Do they?
Food comes up a lot, but improv games are a fun way to mix it up, so we always appreciate
It's
that.
true.
Kevin, why don't we spin the wheel, do one more quick seggy, and then we will say goodbye. Woo!
Whoa. Where are we at?
Storytime Corner. A participant must pull a favorite book and read a sample from it to the others. This is perfect. It will be a short segment.
Okay. Does anyone
May
have a
I-
favorite book? Do you have a favorite book nearby, Ed?
I think I have one handyish. Can I go get it?
Yeah.
Yes,
Go get
please.
it.
We'll fill time.
Yeah.
And enjoy majestic Albany Park.
Yeah, in the background. Yeah.
I'm also in Albany Park. You can enjoy it over here or below.
Oh.
I can see it now.
Check.
Thomas gasping for air. His mind shutting down slowly as his lungs fill with milky cream. Whose cream?
And Ed
Who's
is
to
back,
say?
okay? It's longer than I
cream.
remember.
And it is very milky.
Ed, what book have you got for us?
I've got a book by George Saunders called The Brief
Ooh.
and Terrifying Reign of Phil.
I love George
Oh,
Saunders.
It's
Okay.
just a short, it's not even a book really. It's like a short story that he decided to publish as one thing.
Okay.
And it's really a lovely, lovely story about a whole bunch of kind of how. Do you really want the synopsis, or can we
No,
just
I
say
think
it's a
just
book?
pick a sample and
Maybe we'll figure out what it's
yeah.
about based on the sample.
Totally.
It would be amazing if he started reading out the script from the Milky Cream sound effect that I just played. I can see it now. Thomas gasping for air.
It was the best of times. It was the worst of times.
Wait a second.
No. It was one thing to be a small country, but the country of Inner Horner was so small that only one Inner Hornerite at a time could fit inside, and the other 6 Inner Hornerites had to wait their turns and live around their own country while standing very timidly in the surrounding area of Outer Horner.
That's a great. Is that the opening sentence?
That's the opening
That's a
sentence.
great scene setter. Like,
Yeah, it's about these people who live in a land that one day collapsed and is too small for all of them to just stand in at one point, and the country that surrounds them on all sides starts taxing them, and I don't know, it's lovely, but it's very all the characters are anthropomorphized objects. There's like a character who's described as looking exactly like a tuna fish can if it had a belt buckle stapled to it.
Oh man, what a that sounds like a great little book.
I always remember this. I feel like you love those kinds of analogies, Ed, like comparing guys to recyclable materials.
Totally, yes, yeah.
If you could, Ed, do me.
Oh yeah, what sort of recyclable material are you? Well, actually, when I look at you, more than a recyclable material, I see you as a sustainable kind of silicone Ziploc bag, a reusable bag that you can both sous vide in, you can store things in it. Very practical, very useful in a lot of different situations. You can put rotting things inside of it and it'll be fine. You can really treat it like trash and it'll did I go too far? I went too far.
Wow. Okay.
No,
you know he's upset when he makes the Wario noise.
Wow.
Give me a mean recyclable item, please. Say my face.
Let's be mean to Ed for one glorious moment.
Mean to me,
Ed, I'll pull the one from that I remember from Motherless Brooklyn, that you have a dick like a crushed beer can.
Awful. Oh man. No, I feel like
but one of the ones that's crushed from the inside, so it looks like it's wide at the ends and just crushed in the middle.
It starts big and ends big. Really weird process. No, I feel like if I had to say what kind of recyclable material I felt connected with you most, I would probably just like when you go to the grocery store and you get like a paste, like I think of croissants, and it's like the ones that they bake, so it's in like that plasticky kind of I feel like that's you. You've got the plastic container, baked goods container style thing.
Looks strong but is really so fragile.
Yeah, and surprisingly
riddled with mold.
Difficult to deal with. You'd think you have your handle on it, but then
all of a sudden he used to have something nice in him, but it's long gone.
Yeah.
Riddled with cancer causing material.
Yeah. Most importantly, that's the thing. Yeah.
Ed, thank you so much for guesting on the show.
Yes.
Is there anything you would like to plug?
Oh yeah. Every Tuesday, if you're in Chicago, there's a little show at 8:30 called $10 Comedy, where there's both stand-up and improv. Those things don't usually mix. The real Jets and the Sharks thing out there in the world. But we all come together and make people laugh. Come check us out.
You all come together.
We do. We try to.
Try to just not interrupt this part, Kevin.
Well, some of us can't manage our breathing in a way, and we get a little behind. But whenever the rest of us wait sometimes. Usually it's just everyone waiting on me, and they get uncomfortable.
I understand.
And usually it's been long enough that they need to hydrate. They need water. They're like, it's been hours. And I'm like, insult me. Tell me I'm shitty recycling again. And then it doesn't.
Oh, shit. That was an accident. Sorry.
Thank you so much for listening, everybody. If you liked Ed, you should also check out his amazing short films wherever they are available.
Yes. Will there be links in our description for those? Can I do that? Can I promise that?
Oh, sure. I can provide some of those. Yeah. They're on Vimeo.
Yeah. I'll put some links.
They are wonderful. He's a very talented man. Too talented for the show, some might say.
No.
But here we are. If you liked the podcast, Ed, you can lead by example by rating it 5 stars right now in your podcast app. Can you pull out your phone while we're doing the plugs and please rate it 5 stars, because we need those reviews, and this is really the only outreach we're doing.
If you want to see my face in person, you can come down to the Winnipeg Improv Festival. That's happening, I believe, on October, I believe it starts on the 18th, maybe the 19th, 20th, 21st. And I'll be doing a bunch of shows. I'm in the local ensemble, so I'll be performing alongside some great comedians. Kevin McDonald from Kids of the Hall will be there. Ken Hall from the Umbrella Academy. They'll be performing with those folks. It'll be a lot of fun. Please come check it out. You can get tickets to that at winnipegimprov.com. I also want to point people over to What We Do in the Basement, our Thomas and I's D&D Let's Play podcast. A lot of fun, a lot of chaos, and Thomas's character recently changed his name, which is fun. So we all have to get used to calling him a new name. 60-something episodes in, which is awesome. And yeah,
I'm certainly not going to remember.
Yeah, and I'll be in Chicago soon. So if you're listening to this in Chicago,
I think this might come out after the episode.
Find me and fight me.
Yeah,
Kevin, I think this is going to come out after that.
Well, then find Thomas and fight him.
Yeah.
Kicks.
And submit a segment and rate us 5 stars like Ed just did.
I did.
It'll make you cool.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ed.
Do you guys literally live like is that park that you can see? Like, is it like close, like walking distance from each other?
I think we're not very far from each other at all. I bet it's not a 15-minute walk.
Okay.
I bet it's more like a 10-minute walk.
That's not bad. That's not bad.
Yeah.
Maybe you guys could fight each other.
That's how Thomas and I can maintain it. Yeah, you should.
Yeah.
Good.
What we should have done is started the episode, and then Thomas, you should have made your way over to Ed's by the end of the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Thomas,
when I said I need to go get something, and I went to get the pebble, I could have showed up at Ed's house.
Thomas did bring me a beverage in an open glass that was kind of fizzy.
No.
I guess I'll just drink that up right now and then.
And no!
And we'll play you out. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.